Today I am going to listen a story about Lamb to the Slaughter. Once upon a time in a peaceful suburban neighborhood, Mary Maloney lived a seemingly idyllic life. She was a sweet and gentle woman, adored by her friends and respected by her colleagues. Her life was a picture of happiness with her husband, Patrick, a dedicated police officer who had a reputation for being calm and collected. Their love was well known throughout the town, and they were the envy of their neighbors. On one fateful evening, as Mary was preparing a special dinner for Patrick, she noticed a change in her husband's demeanor when he returned from work. Patrick, typically a man of few words, had a solemn expression on his face. The news he was about to deliver would shatter their perfect life. "Mary," Patrick began, "I have something to tell you, something I should have told you a long time ago." He paused, struggling to find the words. Mary sensed the gravity of the situation and waited anxiously for him to continue. "I've decided to leave you, Mary," Patrick finally admitted. "I've met someone else, and I'm going to be with her. I'm filing for a divorce." Mary's heart sank as she tried to process the words. Her perfect world had crumbled in an instant. The warmth and love she had shared with her husband were suddenly replaced by a cold and unfeeling reality. "Patrick, please, this can't be happening," Mary begged. "We've been so happy together. Can't we work things out?" But Patrick remained steadfast in his decision. He packed his belongings and left the house, leaving Mary behind in a state of shock and despair. She felt abandoned and betrayed, and as she watched her husband walk away, a dark anger began to stir within her. The night stretched on, and Mary sat in her dimly lit kitchen, contemplating the ruin of her life. She glanced at the large frozen leg of lamb on the countertop, which she had intended to cook for Patrick. It was now a symbol of her shattered dreams and the anger that boiled within her. A plan began to form in her mind. Hours passed, and as the clock ticked closer to midnight, Mary knew what she had to do. She took the frozen lamb and wrapped it in a plastic bag, concealing it from view. With determination, she went to the basement, searching for a suitable weapon. Her eyes landed on a heavy, ornate antique statue. The plan was set in motion. Mary returned to the kitchen, still feeling the icy grip of anger in her chest. She knew that the police would come looking for her soon, suspecting her involvement in her husband's murder. But she had a plan born out of desperation and rage. Just as the clock struck midnight, Mary heard the sirens in the distance. The police cars pulled up to the house, and the officers filed in, their faces filled with grim determination. Patrick's murder had been reported, and they were there to investigate. As the lead investigator, Detective Jack Taylor, questioned Mary, she played her part to perfection. She acted the part of the distraught wife, trembling and near tears. She told them she had been home all evening, that Patrick had come in, and they had exchanged a few tense words, after which he had stormed off. She claimed to have no knowledge of what had happened to him. While the officers searched the house, Mary invited them to have a drink to calm her nerves. She offered to prepare dinner for them, suggesting that the frozen leg of lamb was the most suitable option. They agreed, and she proceeded to cook it. The officers were oblivious to her concealed fury as they ate the lamb she had prepared, unaware that they were consuming the evidence of their colleague's murder. Mary kept her composure, engaging them in casual conversation and maintaining her facade as the grieving widow. As the meal came to an end, the detectives thanked Mary for her hospitality and assured her they would do everything in their power to find Patrick's killer. They never suspected the lamb, now just a few bones and scraps, to be the murder weapon. The investigation continued for weeks, but it led to no significant breakthroughs. Mary maintained her innocence, and the case grew cold. The town was abuzz with rumors and speculation about what had happened to the beloved police officer. Months passed, and Mary's facade remained intact. She attended community events, supported charities, and continued to live the life of a model citizen. But the weight of her secret grew heavier with each passing day. One evening, Detective Jack Taylor visited her home. He had become particularly invested in solving Patrick's murder and had a feeling that something was amiss. Mary, who had learned of his suspicions, was nervous but maintained her composure. As he entered her home, Mary greeted him with a smile. "Detective Taylor, what brings you here?" she asked. "I can't let this case go, Mary," he admitted. "I can't shake the feeling that there's something we're missing." Mary's heart raced, but she kept her voice steady. "I understand, Detective. But what more can I tell you? I've told you everything I know." Taylor scrutinized her with a discerning eye. "It's just that there's something about the lamb, Mary. Something doesn't add up." Mary felt a shiver run down her spine, but she tried to maintain her calm. "What do you mean, Detective?" Taylor pressed on. "The lamb you served us that night, it was the last meal Patrick had. And it's the only thing we never investigated thoroughly." Mary's pulse quickened as she feigned innocence. "Detective, why on earth would I do something to hurt my own husband? You know how much I loved him." Taylor leaned in, his gaze piercing. "I believe you loved him, Mary. But sometimes love can drive people to do desperate things." As he spoke, a bead of sweat formed on Mary's forehead. She knew her secret was on the verge of being uncovered. But she wasn't ready to give up the charade just yet. Taylor continued, "We're reopening the case, Mary. We're going to exhume Patrick's body and conduct a more thorough autopsy. If there's any evidence, any trace of foul play, it will be revealed." Mary's heart raced as she tried to think of a way to divert suspicion. In a moment of desperation, she let her emotions take control. Tears welled up in her eyes, and her voice quivered as she spoke. "Detective, I just want this to be over. I loved Patrick, and I want his killer to be found. If you need to exhume his body, then do it. I have nothing to hide." Taylor nodded and left her home, convinced that he was on the right track. But Mary knew that time was running out. She needed to dispose of the last piece of evidence, the lamb bone that could potentially incriminate her. The following night, Mary ventured into the woods behind her house. Under the cover of darkness, she buried the lamb bone deep in the earth, hoping it would never be discovered. With her husband's case reopened, the pressure was mounting, and Mary was playing a dangerous game. As the investigation continued, Taylor and his team exhumed Patrick's body. The autopsy revealed nothing conclusive, and the case remained unsolved. Mary's performance had been convincing, and there was no reason to suspect her further. Years passed, and Mary's secret remained buried in the woods. She lived her life as a widow, haunted by the memories of that fateful night. But as the years went by, the truth began to eat away at her. The guilt, the anger, and the desperation she had once felt had transformed into a profound loneliness. One day, she received an invitation to a memorial service for Patrick, organized by the police department in his honor. She decided to attend, wanting to pay her respects one last time. As she stood by the gravestone, gazing at the words engraved there, she couldn't help but feel a pang of sorrow for the life they had once shared. The truth was that she had loved Patrick deeply, and the pain of his betrayal had driven her to commit a terrible crime. Mary Maloney, the perfect wife and the murderer who had deceived them all, left the memorial service with a heavy heart and a profound sense of regret. In the end, she had become a lamb to the slaughter, her life forever tainted by a single moment of anger and desperation. And so, the story of Mary Maloney serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that love and betrayal can drive people to unimaginable acts, and that even the most perfect facades can hide the darkest secrets. Hope you like the story. Hit the like button and share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe the channel and turn on the notification. Thank you.